Hi guys, welcome to What the Flow. I'm Sophia Silva, and our guest today talks about her radical experience through her midlife crisis and how she sold all her possessions, left her job, and traveled the world all by herself. She's the author, and she's also the director of the Soul Center in OC, and we're going to talk a little bit more about her books, The Second Envelope, and why did this happen to me? I don't know.
Ready.
Sophia Silva is a positive psychology coach who shares with her audiences the knowledge of leading figures to provide a roadmap for people who are interested in leading a life worth living. This is What the Flow with Sophia Silva.
So she's pretty awesome. Welcome, Dr. Janette Freeman.
Sophia, it's so nice to see you. Be here.
Yeah, it's
Thanks.
nice to have you on.
Thank you.
So what happened in your so-called midlife crisis?
You know, I had been doing the same thing forever. I was divorced 2 years. My kids were grown up, and I just needed to be afraid again, if that makes sense.
So you were too comfortable in your lifestyle?
I was so comfortable. I wanted to do something, and I just couldn't stand the thought of spending the rest of my life where I was living is in Fresno and doing the same thing day in and day out. And one day I took a vacation. I'm walking on the beach in Mexico, and I had a vision. I know it sounds crazy, but I just had this vision that was like, it's like unhook and walk the beaches of the world. Like, it was like that. But
that's crazy.
Do you know how sometimes when you have an idea and it's a full body idea that you know with every cell of your body you should do this?
Yeah.
Because I've been aching for something and I didn't know what, and I knew I needed to take time off. I needed to leave something radical.
What made you actually do it? Because I think sometimes people will have that feeling, and then after they go to sleep, they wake up the next day and they're like, maybe
exactly.
not.
Oh, that did happen. But the good thing is that I was in Mexico for another week. So for that whole week, I visualized it. I dreamed about it, and I had complete freedom to lay on the beach and think about it and dream about it and get on the internet and just pretend that it could be possible. And by the time I had done that, I went home going, I can do this. I can figure out how to do this. But you're absolutely right. 2 days home, telling a couple people, I almost threw it away. And the truth is, I almost threw it away 1,000,000 times.
Yeah.
It was hard, and it was one of the most terrifying things ever to think about ripping away. I was a minister. I had a congregation. I loved them. They loved me. And I knew that that would be really difficult. I knew that my family would be upset. I knew that it would cause a lot of havoc. And I had to make that choice for me, which is hard. Like,
right.
I had children and a big church. It was like I had to make a decision that said yes to I will die here or I will follow my heart. And so, you know, it took me 6 months to prepare and to get ready and to sell things off. And I still can't believe that it happened. And every part of it was so terrifying.
Yeah.
Right? It was so terrifying, but it was, I did it. Right?
Yes.
And I learned so much about myself.
How long did you travel for?
Just about a year.
Okay. So you're like the real deal, eat, pray, love.
That's exactly right.
Real deal.
I'm the real deal.
So what did you learn? I mean, what did you learn about yourself, about the world, about your work?
One thing I learned is that when I go to a new place for 3 days, I'm terrified.
Why?
And that's good to know, because when you move into a situation where you've never been before, now make it a different country and make it where you don't know where you're going and you don't speak the language, every part of your body will go into reaction of fear. You can't even help yourself. Your body's, you don't have your bearings. You're afraid it's something new. And so I used to panic, and when I finally realized about the third stop, that I will be terrified for 3 days and then it will pass. That just let me be afraid and know that it wasn't going to kill me.
And you were very in tune with yourself too. You figured it out.
Right.
How you worked.
Right. Yeah. You can't let fear stop you. And every time you're going to do something new, it is going to be terrifying.
Right, I love that. Because people are so afraid of that, and it holds them back from so many things.
Right.
And to me, what I've learned is, if I'm not afraid, I'm doing something wrong. I'm too complacent, too comfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was the thing I said. I needed to do something really terrifying because, at some level, I needed to get my confidence back. You know,
and does that help? It helps with your confidence, right?
It totally does, because you go, wow, I actually did that.
Exactly.
And if you just do the same thing and you know in your heart that you are not pushing the envelope a little bit, then you don't love yourself more. You know, we need to stretch and live on the edge a little bit to find out and to mine out of us a strength and a quality we didn't know we had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said after, I think, about the third time that you just knew you were gonna be terrified for 3 days and you'd get over it. Do you think it gets easier with time after you do it once, you overcome the fear, then you can do it again and again and again, and it becomes a habit?
Yes, it does, because you realize, oh, that didn't really kill me. You know,
Right.
I'm sleeping on a bench, you know, outside of Bangkok airport, right? And I'm like, can't get a flight and this and that. And I wasn't even afraid, because that was like in the middle of the trip. So it was like, I just learned to go with the flow, deal with what came up, and I was able to handle so much more without any fear. I had the sense that, so I know that the spirit of God, life, universe is right where I am, right? Like, I have this sense that I'm safe, and I just have this sense that that's true. So that helps, right? To be able to go out into other situations and know that I was safe, and I was. You know, I always felt fairly safe that I would be able to get through any bind that I found myself in.
That's some self-confidence right there.
Well, I don't know. I wasn't that kind of confident travel person. That wasn't me. I'd only been on a trip by myself one time in my life.
So what did your family think of this? I mean, how did they handle that?
Okay, so
like
my kids who are adults, they're like, wow, Mom, that's awesome. I mean, my kids know me. We are like this, and my kids think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So my kids were 100% supportive.
Okay, that's good.
And I have a lot of extended family, and my sisters, God bless them, weren't all that excited about it and pretty much thought I was nuts. Okay, so there's that.
Like, what are you doing?
I know. And I left them behind, like, you know, it's like people depended on me for a lot of things, and then I just wasn't there anymore. And so it changed their dynamic. It changed their dynamic. And you know, I think this whole idea of taking risk, and especially like for myself, in midlife. Okay, now you're too young to know this, but I think we're the same.
Quarter-life crisis.
Like, I know, exactly. We have ongoing, and for everybody comes a time when it's up to you to recreate yourself,
right,
and not live by the identities that have controlled you. And that was one of the things that was mostly on my mind, and was to let go of all the identities that I thought that I was. And that was the unhook piece, you know, I'm not a minister, I'm not a mother, you know, I don't have to take care of one person. I was completely selfish. I did whatever I wanted.
Do you feel like because you took the time to do you, that you came back much better prepared to fulfill that same, I don't know, to give back to other people, to be present for other people?
Exactly. Yes, because it's so much a part of who I am. In fact, at the end, that was the biggest difficulty, was I have got to work again. I was like, I cannot walk on this beach one more day, you know, like I need to go to work. I need to talk. I need to coach. I need to be with people. I need to do this. I need to do this. And so that's what ended up bringing me to Orange County, and joining up with the Soul Center OC and do the work that I love. And the universe worked it all out, that I could go do this, and then when I came back was able to make contacts down here and start this Soul Center OC and start a new life all over again, you know. But through the process, it was terrifying, and I didn't know where I was going to work again, and that became the next huge fear. Is like, okay, I let go of all my identities, but I need a new one now.
Yeah.
Like, what do I want to create?
Yeah.
Right? And what do I want to create? And so it's like opening up to spirit to say, what do I want to create? And what do I want to visualize? And what do I want to bring in? Mm-hmm. You know, and that's so important. And sometimes it just takes that time to get off by yourself and really sit with that authentic love and that authentic power, so that what comes out of you will be where you really want to be.
I couldn't agree more. Like, we all need time to just focus on ourselves so that we can actually give to the world.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. So how did you, once you got back and you said you lost your identity, how did you kind of get your identity back and get the ball rolling again with a new job and all that? Because that was terrifying.
Right. Synchronicity, meeting the right person at the right time. I really had no plan, and I'm really shy. Like,
no, you're not.
I know, right?
You're lying.
But I'm totally not good about picking up the phone, cold calling, looking for situations.
Yeah.
And it's easier for me to stay in than go network and everything.
Yeah.
It's anyway.
This program is brought to you by
Anaheim Stoneworks, the company that has taken all the obstacles out of your way. From start to finish, Anaheim Stoneworks takes care of each and every step to give your home the unique look that you've been dreaming of. Anaheim Stoneworks. Quality from start to finish.
Master Toddy LA Training Center offers authentic Muay Thai training with locations in Bangkok, Pomona, and Anaheim. For more information, visit mastertoddyla.com.
So
I think that's tough for all of us.
It just happened that I met somebody on a bike ride that was here, and later on that he knew the founders of the Soul Center. We connected, and I had started 2 churches before, so they just wanted to know how to do it, and so I just consulted with them until they're finally, like 6 months into it, it really worked out that I could move down here, and the doors opened, and there was nothing there. There was like 20 people in that place. And they says, can you come down here and do this church? We have no money to pay you, and but I just think you'd be great here. And I knew it was right. It was, again, full body yes, right?
Yeah.
I knew it was right. And I'm like, I knew it was right. And I knew that if it was right, I knew if I came, I could build it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I do. I knew I could do that. And so I was like, okay, so we're going to demonstrate a place for me to house sit or something, right? Because we got to find a housing situation.
I know,
and once
right?
my housing is taken care
You
of,
need to live somewhere.
I need to live somewhere. And, it just totally opened up. I had this fabulous, beautiful home on top of the world in Laguna Beach.
That's so cool.
For 3 months. And I just had this.
It's not a bad gig.
Right? And again, that was like somebody that knew somebody, and the doors opened up, And so I think that's what happens. We don't have those kind of miracle moments unless we're willing to take the step first. Unless
And you're
we're
open
willing
to it.
to
You're
step,
open
and
to
you're
it.
open, and you're like, I'm just moving forward, and I know the doors are opening.
Yeah,
right?
no,
and then
absolutely.
you gotta, still stay positive, and you still gotta keep your mind in the right mind space in order to be the one that can receive the great,
Absolutely.
synchronistic
That's so awesome.
things.
So what kind of work do you guys do at the Soul Center?
I like lighting fires under people to say, hey, come on, there's a light inside of you and it knows what to do. And and then it's like, and teaching. I teach a lot of classes in science of mind and in like I'm doing one on the power of decision, and teach a lot of class. I did one a couple weeks ago on neuroplasticity, about the brain and how the brain is wired.
Yeah.
And the thing is the brain is wired a certain way, and the subconscious is running our life, and people pretty much live at 95% unconsciousness and 5% consciousness.
Oh boy.
It's crazy. Unless they start waking up and realizing and start to have awareness that a lot of the things they're doing.
Yeah, you're on autopilot. Yeah,
Right.
I know. But the other thing too with neuroplasticity is that we can change that. Our brain changes.
Yes.
We can change our habits. And it works.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
And the fact that science is saying that now, and that science
We didn't
is
used to think that.
affirming this is huge. I love that.
It's huge. Yeah, I mean, people people can change habits. I forget how many days it is, but you can actually reprogram yourself.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you can do it.
Yeah. In my first book, Why Did This Happen to Me Again? I mean, the whole book is about the subconscious mind, and the whole book is about repetition. If you want a new experience, you've got to have a new thought, but you got to have it more than one time. So you need to do something again and again and again. And so then I created sleep learning programs.
What's that?
It's like, beautiful, positive affirmations put to really soft music that puts you to sleep, and then you listen to it as you go to sleep, and then it's going. And you play it on reverse all night long while you're sleeping, so it's going into your subconscious mind while you're sleeping. So I started making those for my children 35 years ago on a little cassette player, right?
Oh,
so
wow.
that all night long they could listen.
So they're ahead of the game.
So they're ahead of the game,
Yeah.
right?
So how can people start to make that change? I feel like it's so difficult with you said 95% unconscious, we're on autopilot, and we're in these repetitive thoughts. Like, what's like that first step to breaking that?
You first have to have a desire, okay, and it's got to be big. Like, if you don't want to change, are you going to? No. So it's like find your yes, find something that's important to you, and visualize it, and visualize it until you get excited about it. So when you do that, that's going to give you some motivation. So that's number one, have a desire. And then the other thing is you've got to have, I think, one or two sentences that you can pull out of your back of your head so easy. It's like that you say, like, let's say you have a problem in relationships and you don't feel good enough, but if you say, I am loved and I am lovable. I'm loved and I am lovable. I mean, it's easy, but if you say that over and over and over, and you look in the mirror and you say it over and over and over, and the trick is, as soon as you catch that other self-talk coming up, is to catch it early before you're actually down with tears and causing all kinds of trouble.
That's so right. Yeah, it's like the self-talk,
reprogramming over and over.
Yeah.
Self-talk is such a key
really
part
is.
of it. It totally is.
I notice myself using it all the time, especially if I'm going through something difficult that I don't want to do. I'm like, you can do it. You can do it. It'll be over soon. Like,
Right. That's right. You can do it.
And then afterwards, you feel so much better about yourself. I feel like a lot of people don't want to do that, but it's difficult, yes. But then when you're done, you're like, oh yeah, I'm awesome. Like, pat on the back. Like, I did it. It builds your self-confidence.
I know, it totally does. It's like honor the good things that you do and forget the other ones, right?
Yeah,
and then just keep self-talk that's really positive and powerful.
Fake it till you make it.
Exactly. That's true, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
So second envelope is all about your trip, correct?
Yes.
And then why this happened to me is more about kind of the repetitiveness.
Why this happens to me again is really a good self-help book with steps and 1, 2, 3, and this is what you do, and lots of affirmations and lots of information. The second envelope is written in storytelling, like a fiction book.
It's like two sides of you.
That's
both
right.
Sides
so
of you.
it tells this crazy relationship that I had. I was in, this whole book starts out in Switzerland, where the guy dumps me. And this is true because, like, I was planning all this trip, and then I had this boyfriend that was, kind of on and off. He's one of the
So you went through a lot of things on this trip.
So it was like heartbreak with this guy, and then finally we're really together, and we're going to Switzerland first, and I'm gonna go down to Dominican, and he's gonna join me, and he's gonna do all this stuff. And so then we get in Switzerland, we have this fabulous, love-filled, wonderful week, love with this man, and then the very next day when I'm supposed to leave, and then he's gonna be joining me later, he says, I just don't think we should see each other anymore. I want to see other women. I'm like,
but what about
I'm leaving tomorrow, and I gotta leave with this, right? It was the perfect thing.
Yeah.
Because now it was the trip that it was always supposed to do, but that was a little bit of a comfort blanket for me to go, he's gonna be coming and meeting me in different places. So, but this had to be my trip.
Yeah, man, you just dived off the deep end.
It had to be all mine, and the universe knew that, so it was like that kind of held my hand until I was almost there, and then and that was such a part of my healing too, because that was an ongoing year relationship that was very painful, and it was very painful in that whole experience. So my whole first 2 months in my place was constant, like dealing with that, right? Dealing with that. So, what's a good story without a good heartbreak?
I know.
I had a good love affair. Okay, there might be one of those in there.
Oh boy, I'm quoting that.
That's right.
Dr. Janette Freeman.
That's right. Good love affair, Paige. Yeah, but anyway, so there's two different styles of writing, and the second envelope is very interesting, and it's a good read, and it's take an hour and a half to read it, not very long, and it's got some nice little messages without being real preachy and how to. Everyone, what I've noticed in talking to people is they all get different things from it.
Yeah.
People, you get what it is that you need, and wherever you are in your particular life, there'll be something that really just speaks to you, and I mean, like part of it, it's
My
like,
life has been that way with a lot of stuff.
right, it's like, somebody might say, like, part of it is like traveling lightly, like all the things that you carry. And I was constantly, and I started out with a lot, and I'm pretty soon I got like a backpack and a carry-on, because if you can't carry all your stuff, you're screwed, okay?
Yeah.
So it's like things that you learn, but that's really important with life, and how much we carry on, or we have to take care of, and how much stuff do we really need, right?
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I love talking to you, and I think we can learn a lot from you.
Thank you.
If you like the show, please subscribe to my channel, Sophia Silva, and follow me on Instagram or hit like on my Facebook page. And thank you for watching.
All conversation and information exchange during participation in the sophiasilva.org website, Sophia Silva YouTube channel, or interaction with and all social media sites is intended for information and entertainment purposes only, and should not be considered a professional diagnosis or treatment. Do not confuse this information with treatment or medical advice or directions per se. Nothing posted on this site supplements or supersedes the direction of your medical caretakers. Sophia Silva, MA, does not provide the information on these pages to substitute for individualized therapy. No claim to cure, treat, diagnose, or otherwise provide mental or behavioral health care is guaranteed, promised, or implied by this site. The same applies to any professionals who might appear on this site. This website contains links to other websites and resources. We take no responsibility for the content of other resources, electronic or written. If you're in need of any health services, please contact a licensed professional or call 911.